Three, four.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Bornoffside. We will take a look at last week's action and take a quick look forward to this week's action in the Premier League fixtures. And there's lots of action. There's some action going on this weekend.
Is that really French,
mate? Action. It is actually.
Okay.
It's the North London derby.
It is, isn't it? What a horrible time to be having it as well. I'm not.
It's the one that you've got on your calendar pretty much at the beginning, right? You know, when fans all kind of get together and then they're all like, hey, it's let's have a look at the fixtures. In the old days, we used to have Man United and all that stuff and everything. You'd look for where Man United were. You'd look for Christmas, Boxing Day, one of those ones. For you, it's North London derby, right? That's the one that you look for.
Well, and also it's also the thing that up until now, mate, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like the season didn't really start. Like, it feels like we're still in pre-season a little. I know we did, and these games count, and they mean stuff.
I know what you mean, actually.
It's still summer. It still feels a little bit like a pre-season tournament. But now that there's a proper game on, like a serious one, now it might well feel like the actual season has started. But for me, almost the season doesn't start until you watch that Sunday game and it's dark by the end of the game,
Yes.
Then it started.
Absolutely. None of this sunshine bullshit. What's all that about? Good weather and all that crap.
No.
And water breaks during the Community Shield. What's that about?
God.
That's not Premier League football. God. Mate, let's start with Arsenal because it's a bit of an interesting one. I mean, would you say they were knocked off their perch last weekend at Anfield, or do you think it's do you think the bubble has sort of burst from their semi-positive start to the season, or do you think actually?
Let me give you the exact account of what happened. Now,
okay.
Now, let's rewind and go back a couple of podcasts when someone, I won't name him, but it wasn't me, said, I think David Luiz is a good purchase. I think that'll improve the Arsenal defense. And then the other person, let's not name him, but it was me, said quite unequivocally, they've signed a crack poodle. He's a liability. He's going to make a shit defense even worse, just with bigger hair. Now, let's fast forward to last weekend when they played Liverpool, when I don't want to call myself some kind of hypocritical Nostradamus, but I did get it exactly right. The man
You did.
The man pulled off a certain level of brilliance in that he committed a foul when the last thing he wanted to do was commit a foul. And then for the third goal, he let a player run by him when the last thing he wanted to do was let a player run by him. You can imagine the team talk afterwards was like, here, no foul. No foul. Here, no foul. Got it, David? Got it. Here, foul. No.
Got it.
No foul. No foul. Okay, no foul.
No foul?
Foul? No foul.
They're walking down the tunnel over to the field. He turns around to Xhaka and you go, was it foul or no foul? I can't remember what he said.
Xhaka, inbox is foul or not? Dick Emery is like, inbox, no foul.
They're coming out the tunnel together with Emery, still discussing it. Foul or not? Foul. Oh, okay, foul. But mate, look, I mean, the first penalty was just stupid, absolutely stupid, and you can see the smile on his face. That when he does it, and when they're lining up for the penalty, and he's kind of like, he can't help himself but smile. He can't help it. He just can't help it at all.
David Luiz's Twitter bio is famously, I love the life. He literally has just gone, yoink. Oh, that'll be a pen. Oops.
That'll be a pen. There we go. I'm going to protest a little bit And Monreal, hey, you come here, you protest as well. So it takes it off me a little bit, but yeah, we all know it's a foul. But apparently, it's going to VAR. I don't even know why, but anyway, and it did. It went to VAR. He tugged his shirt back and everything. I'd love to know what Luis actually said to the ref the second after it happened, because what was it? I think he said, but he kept going. I'm sure that's what he must have said. Like, yeah, I pulled his shirt. That's fine, but he kept going. He didn't fall. He didn't dive. Well, okay, anyway. And he got booked for it, of course. And then I put it to you that on the third one, where he just knocked it past him and just went, he actually gets out of his way because he knows full well that if he any contact, he's got a red. So,
Mate, I would say you were correct if it wasn't for the fact that the individual doing it was the same individual who committed the stupid penalty in the first place. I think you're giving him too much cognitive thoughts. Like he doesn't.
And famously let Son Heung-min through in pretty much the same sort of fashion, in a way, didn't he? It
I'll
was
kick him. Oh, I've missed him.
Oh, it's gone through my legs.
Oh, he's fast.
Mate, Pepe is the first person to dribble past Van Dijk in what, like 50 football matches or something.
Mate.
I want to know what this, what's dribbling past a player? It's what, like, if you just knock it past him and run past him, is that it? Is that what that means?
I mean, it means you have the ball in front of him and then you get behind him with the ball. Mate, that was for me as a Tottenham fan. For me as a Tottenham fan, that moment when Pepe went through was horrifying. Like, I was like, he's going through. He was going through. Oh my God, he's actually really good. Fuck, they piled out 72 million and he's good. Shit. And then he finishes, and I'm like, oh, phew.
Oh. Mate, look. All good and everything. I mean, we could talk until the cows come home about Emery's diamond formation and how it completely failed. But I want to just
good for
switch
half an hour, no?
The first half an hour, yeah. You'd have to say that
by a header from a set piece, which, let's face it, can happen to anyone.
Can happen, yeah.
But the capitulation after that was bad.
Was bad, yeah. That was bad and sad, and I mean, Salah's third goal was very nice, and very crackpoodly, yes. But yeah, no, it was a lovely goal to sort of finish it off. But mate, let's just switch on to Spurs a little bit here, because Spurs are not exactly in a great place either, are they? Right now, they've got a terrible record actually at the empty crates. They've got issues with their Danish Great Dane, who doesn't seem to want to play, or I don't know if that's the fact, or whether he's just being kept on the bench because he's moaning and whining or whinging on trying to get this move. Vertonghen's also, is it Vertonghen or Alderweireld? I keep forgetting which one is being left on the bench as well, because he's having some issues as well. I mean, what's going on? Harry Kane only had 4 touches in the box against Newcastle last week. It's a terrible result for Spurs last week. I can keep going, mate, if you want. You can stop me whenever you want. But
I mean, you've already started.
Do you want to finish it quickly? Look, Spurs are not in a good place at the moment, are they? And they're going to Arsenal, and they've got a terrible record there. So just tell me what you think's going to happen. What do you reckon?
It's not far. I mean, it's not far to go.
No, it's a bus ride away. Yeah. It's not far. You're right. But whenever they go there, or whenever they have gone there in recent times, they haven't done that well. But this is a different. Spurs are clearly, clearly superior to Arsenal this season. I mean, I think they were clearly superior to last season, but this season it's all gone.
Mate, we haven't actually played well since Harry Kane came back against Burnley.
Oh God, it's horrible to say that. Horrible, because I mean, all the critics are out and everything, all this crap about when he was out. They were doing tremendously well. Son came into it. It looked like he was really happy, and I mean, it's just but it doesn't make sense. Harry Kane's arguably the best striker in Europe. What kind of team suffers from him coming back into the squad?
Well, it's a horrible cliche, but he needs service. And at the end of,
Mm.
well, mate, I don't like to say this, but I do wonder if Pochettino's message is, on the continent, they seriously believe in changing the manager because it's just to get a new voice, a new message, something new in there. And
Mm.
I'm just
Mm.
wondering if you look at what happened with Pochettino at Espanyol, even look at what happened with Klopp at,
Southampton?
well, no, Southampton he left quite early. But if you look at what happened with
Yeah, it was early doors.
Klopp at Dortmund, for example,
Right,
tremendously
right.
successful, but then had a season which was an absolute capitulation. They were close to the relegation, and I mean, and he left. And I feel like, and even Guardiola's always been very smart at leaving before he needs to.
Mourinho season 3
Yeah,
syndrome.
Mourinho tends to leave before everything goes wrong by making everything go wrong himself. But perhaps he has a shelf life. I wonder if Poch is like, it's same players. It's still Dele Alli and Harry Kane. And if you look at the players in the Tottenham squad who aren't really functioning at the moment, it's the likes of Eric Dyer. Mate, what has happened to Eric Dyer? Like, you remember
It's a good
when he was
question.
like, Manchester United wanted to buy him for like 50 million and put him in the base of midfield. They don't want to do that anymore.
Putting in tackles on Sergio Ramos and yeah, it's a shadow of who it was. I mean, what was when Trippier left? He obviously came out and said, things are not right at the moment with Danny Rose, Vertonghen, Eriksson. Sorry, it's not
Alderweireld.
Vertonghen. Sorry, Alderweireld.
No, even
All these.
Vertonghen hasn't signed a new contract. And you've now this year got Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Rose, Eriksson, all going into the last year of a contract, which is just nuts. Either sell them on or sign them up. Do one of the two things. To me, it's totally bizarre. And
Something's not
Trippier's
right
gone.
there.
Trippier's gone, and I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
Kyle Walker-Peters is not ready. And Aurier has
that's
always been like injury prone and accident prone, and I mean he can be there's an exceptional player in Serge Aurier if you can get his mind right, but he's tended to be used by Pochettino in games where you need his pace because he's a lot faster than Trippier, and
true.
and Trippier is gone. And I think, honestly, okay, he didn't have the greatest season last year, but I feel at 20 million, he's a bit undervalued. He's only 28. He had a long-term contract left. And I think we let him go and he's having a lovely old time
Yes, isn't he? He's out in Madrid. He's playing well. He's integrating.
working
He's learning
hard.
the language. He's doing a D Bale. He's doing everything that Bale never did. And mate, I'm really happy for him. I really am
Me
because
too.
I think
I've always liked Trippier. He always
yeah.
tried hard, and he always did his best. He had some defensive issues, but a wonderful footballer. Like his ability to cross a ball and take set pieces and find people, and an intelligent player. Has pace limitations. So yeah, I don't. Mate, the short answer to your question is I don't know what's going on with Spurs. I worry it might be time for a change.
Oh, year 6 as well for Poch, isn't it? So this is 6 is. I mean,
and
maybe
he's
he's waiting.
not shown himself to be in the right frame of mind. He keeps talking about leaving and not liking things and changing his title and all of this crap. Sharp and
it is
fuck
weird,
off,
definitely. So I want to draw back to podcasts of the past and not too distant past as well, where you were waxing lyrical on him. But of course,
I love him, but he doesn't mean he can complain. Think about your kids. You love your kids, but the moment they start complaining, do you not think, "Oh, shut up"? No,
very true. He's like your kid, basically. He's like your child.
I mean, it's a relationship you have with anyone. You love them dearly, you do anything for them, but when they're complaining, there is a part of you that thinks, "Oh, shut up."
Shut up and put the kettle on, for God's sake. Deal with it later.
Talking. I can't solve your problems. Leave.
Mate, there is one nice shining light out of all of this, and that is that nobody has scored more goals in a North London derby than Monsieur Harry Kane. And if he comes up trumps here at the empty crates, it will be a very sweet victory, wouldn't it? I mean, and it would be maybe something that could catapult Spurs forward in a way that that the team obviously really needs now.
Mate, I hope Dele's back, and I hope he puts Dyer in, because Dyer, Dele, and Harry hate Arsenal, and that's all I want. That's all I want is I want people who hate Arsenal, who can't stand them. He'll kick the crack poodles in the head if needs be. That's what I want. I want a battle.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, that's the 4:00 kickoff. I'm not even sure who the bookies putting as favourites. I would imagine that it will be very, very close, with Spurs possibly just edging it. But because it's at the empty crates, I think it will be very close. Mate, let's have a quick break and let's come back and talk about the rest of the Premier League action.
Wake up in the morning, wanting some breakfast, but not gonna spread on my toast. Vitalite, made with pure sunflower oil, and with the taste that'll make you shine. Vitalite. I keep it shining all through the daytime. When day is done, well, you know what I like. What's that? Come on, y'all. Vitalite. Yeah. Good night.
If I had a buck for every time these two tried to stuff old school Marge down my throat, I'd still be a poor voice synthesizing machine. Give me a fried egg. Any day of the week, madam.
Welcome back to part 2 of the Action for the Premier League. It's going to be a fantastic Premier League. Mate, it's going to be a really good weekend. Although there isn't that many matches of real sort of fire apart from that North London derby, there are some other tasty matches. I'd say tasty. And mate, we're going to start with the one at St Mary's, because we've got a Manchester United team which is it's not doing very well now at the moment, is it? And this, if there was a time to face Man United, it could either be it or it could not be it. Now, in the Ferguson days, I would say this is not the time to face Man United. After just having lost at home to Crystal Palace in a way that really they should not have lost, one punt over the top, Lindehoff doesn't know what he's doing, and ball bounces and then bang, it's in, and then for them to get back into it and then only to have it snatched away from them once again, right at the death there with Van Aanholt. I would say if this was the Ferguson period, this would be the worst time to play it. But this is a different Man United team, isn't it, really? And with all the crap and all the abuse that Pogba got, all the issues with Martial and Rashford, if this could actually be a good chance for Southampton to win this, couldn't it?
It could be. I certainly, if I were you, wouldn't be worried about penalties.
No, I'm not. Their record so far in the last 2, it's taken 2 and missed 2. So feeling good on that one. And Sanchez has now gone. I don't know if you heard about this, but Ibrahimovic wants back in.
To take the pens?
Well, he said he wants back in. I'm sure that if he did come in, he'd be a big one to take the pens, that's for sure. Because I don't think Rashford... I think this whole thing with the penalty thing, I don't know if you even want to talk about it. I can't be asked to be too much, to be too honest about it. But Rashford took that penalty against PSG in the final minutes to put them through, and that's because Pogba wasn't on the pitch at the time, and he was the penalty taker. And then since then, and just before that as well, obviously he took a very good one for England against Colombia in the penalty shootout. Before that, he hadn't taken penalties too much, but then he took another couple and he did very well. He drilled them. And, Rashford's a striker, he wants goals. He needs goals. He loves goals, and like all strikers do. So I can understand him wanting to take the pens. But, mate, unbelievable that he stepped up and missed that pen that hit the post, really, after everything happened. It's just ridiculous, really.
He did get really close to not missing it, didn't he? I mean, he's cracked the inside of the post. I mean, a miss is a miss, and you have a point there. You are right, but there's the Pogba way of missing it, and there's the Rashford way of missing it. And if I gave you the choice between the two, which would you have?
Oh yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Have you noticed? It's funny as well that Pogba actually started missing more since he changed his style of penalty taking. Did you
Yes,
notice that?
the stupid run up is more effective. He should stick to it.
Exactly. Yes. There you go. So. What are you doing? But anyway, don't change a winning habit, a winning mentality.
No,
There is a new way that football players are now taking penalties, and I like it.
the
It's that kind of
jump.
without the Jorginho jump though. Before they do, it's everything but the Jorginho jump. It's line up right in front of the goalkeeper in a direct line behind the football. So it's just a direct line between you, the football, and the goalkeeper, and then take about 6 or 7 steps off to the side, because then the keeper doesn't have much time to sort of judge your body movement and you know what I mean? Like it's less of a chance for the keeper to actually guess properly where it is that you're gonna slot it. So anyway, I think that's a
Mate,
new
for me,
technique.
there's only one way to take a penalty, and that is to address the ball, come back from it, do a little Johnny Wilkinson-esque little kind of crouchy thing, then do the tippy toes, and then whack it in the top corner as hard as you bloody can. That's the only way.
There you go.
I also quite like
straight
a Julian Dix straight down the middle.
They're pretty good as well, with venom and you mean it as well. Mate, it's probably a good time to face Man United, but the problem is Southampton are not in a very good place here at the moment. No Bertrand and Redmond injured in midweek.
Oh, really? That's your best two players?
Fulham. Basically, yeah. So with our best two players out, it would be a nice time to do it. But Hasenhüttl clearly doesn't trust the defence at the moment either. He's got this new 20-year-old.
Hasenhüttl is in shape, isn't he? I mean, he's a muscly man. I think
he's a muscly man.
I think I'd like him as a dad.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He'd
take you to sports events.
Teenager.
You know, he'd be nice, but firm.
Yeah, agreeable, but firm. And other kids would know who your dad is, and they wouldn't fuck with you. They simply wouldn't. Because he's he's a tall geezer as well. So he's built, he's tall, and he's ready to smash any of the other dads. So
he's big, he's tall,
I'm with you.
You're going to smash your dad. That's a
hoot. Well, we'll soon see, but I think it's going to be an interesting one. I'll obviously be fixed to the screen.
I fancied you until you told me that your best two players were injured, and now I fancy Man United. Yeah.
No, that's right, and it's going to be painful. I mean, and I went through the fixtures with you. We've got some terrible fixtures where we play a lot of the top 6 at home, and then a lot of the bottom teams away, and it's just not looking good at all for the first 8 matches for Southampton.
One last time. You won last time.
That's right, shocker. That was a shocker against Brighton. But the only reason why Southampton won was because they went. Brighton went down to 10 men after 30 minutes. So Brighton were all over Southampton, and they would have. I'm pretty sure they would have done it. I'm not convinced at all by the football that they're playing at the moment. There's a lot of talk of this 4-2-2-2 formation that Hasenhüttl wants to bring in. We still haven't had a sniff of it. He's been there. Okay, fair enough. He has to play depending on the staff that he's got. It's very important. If you don't have the staff to do it, then you can't play the way that you want to play. And so he's showing great adaptability for that. But there was something that happened a few seasons ago with Koeman and with Pochettino that suddenly brought in a style of football that Southampton, a high press style of football that Southampton became kind of known for, and that's gone. And
everyone does it. To be fair,
yeah, this high press now. Absolutely, you're right. They coming out.
I thought Southampton were decent for periods against Liverpool. Your big problem is no one to put the ball in the back of the net. That's the big problem.
That's it. You've got Danny Ings. We were hoping that something would happen there. And, of course, Che Adams hasn't really hit the ground running. But I don't mind someone that doesn't hit the ground running, actually. I'm patient with them because sometimes it takes a couple of games and then bang, 3 or 4, 5, 6, on the trot type thing. So I'm hopeful that Che would be one of those, and I don't think we've seen enough of him in pre-season to see that he can do it. So now it's just a question of him getting that first goal in and then seeing if something comes from it. So, but yeah, I don't know, not that confident to be honest. But anyway, hopefully they'll prove me wrong. Mate, let's move on. We've got 8 more games to cover, so let's cover these very quickly. Mate, Newcastle versus Watford. I think Newcastle, after their very good performance, obviously, last week, we'll say less about that, the better. Mate, Steve Bruce, suddenly a mastermind in disguise. Do you think so? He's been hiding for the last 20 years of being a manager, and suddenly he's the absolute, amazing manager that nobody saw.
No, what happened in that game is that Joel Linton discovered the bus-sized hole between Davinson Sanchez and Toby Alderweireld, and he thought to himself, I'm going to occupy this hole because it's nice and it's roomy and you could really fit a bus in here. And someone's passed the ball to him. No, I think Newcastle did well, but I don't think they were tested all of that much, and I think they'll find it more difficult at home. But Watford are in a bad place. So I kind of fancy this to be a draw. I think for me, it's got like a 1-1 written on it. If Newcastle might take a win because they're in a kind of better place, and Watford might be thinking, well, if we down tools for a bit, they'll get a new manager in, so we can have this nice tool downing period where we don't work all that hard, and then we'll work when the new manager comes in. Because I mean, Watford won't keep their finger off that trigger much longer. Them Pozzos like to pull that trigger. Trigger.
Do you think they don't like him there? Do you think the players have fallen out of love with? How can they fall out of love?
I think they're just used to the manager changing so often. Like they're just used to it, okay. And then they're thinking, oh, hang on, he's still here. Oh, hang on. No, I want to down tools for a bit. Let's down tools. That's
not right.
I mean, I like him, but I need my rest.
He should be gone.
I think that's what happened.
All right. Okay. So maybe a score draw, low score draw, 1-1 sort of thing. Do you reckon? Something like that. Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Mate, Man City, Brighton. Just very quickly. I mean, there's no point even talking about who's going to win it. I think the question is how much.
2 for Sterling, 2 for Aguero. That's 4 plus 1 for midfield. De Bruyne, 5. I think, yeah. I can go 5. I quite like Brighton. I think it might be just 5.
Okay, that's nice of you. Burnley versus Liverpool, mate. So I got a feeling that Ashley Barnes might have something to say about this game. It's at Burnley. Ooh.
Ashley Barnes will score first, but Liverpool will win. That's what I'm telling you. Ashley Barnes will score, and he'll score first. But I think Liverpool will still win. They've got that 2-point advantage in the title race over Man City, and I expect them to keep it until the two teams face each other. It's proving really nip and tuck this title race, and with only 35 games left to go, it's anyone's call.
Neck and neck all the way to the end, just like last season. I don't think it will. I think Man City will actually pull away a little bit. But Liverpool, they're not doing too badly. The only thing is that they've conceded more shots than they did this time last year. They've got no clean sheets at all. I mean, they must be a little bit worried up there, don't you think? I don't know. Maybe not.
I think they're okay for now.
They score for fun, though. They score for fun, so that's the main thing. All right then, okay, good stuff. Liverpool for a win there, but Ashley Barnes doing what he does best, mate. His goal last week, just very quickly, against Wolves. That was a piece of something, wasn't it? That was lovely. I don't know if you saw it or not, but it was a cracker-lacking one. Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. Villa fresh off their first win for donkey's years against Everton. Finally, Grealish, curtains boy.
Yes.
Finally getting that win off his back.
He did.
He did. He absolutely got it there. He must have slept well that night, or not at all, depending on how you want to look at it.
Not at all. I'm going with not at all. I remember the footage of him wandering around a city centre drunk. I'm going with not at all.
That was a gem. Crystal Palace, one of the worst teams in the world at playing at home, going against a buoyant Villa side. Mate, what you reckon on this one?
To answer this one, I need to know Wilf's current state of mind. Someone needs to open up a website with Wilf's state of mind so that Crystal Palace fans can know what's going on.
Fair enough.
But if Wilf's all right, I fancy Palace to win that one. If Wilf's not all right, draw.
Draw. All right, fair enough. A draw. I'm going for a Villa win here. I'm going for a Villa win. I just think
Look
he's
at
going to
you.
do it. I know. West Ham versus Norwich, mate. That's what I'm saying. There's no like massive games, but they're all tasty. Sebastian Haller, West Ham's new striker, mate. Did you know his middle name is Teddy? So it was just very sweet, because we all like Teddy Bear. But there's only one striker to talk about.
If something's scary and it involves ghouls, it's spooky.
Spooky.
If something's a little bit odd and not quite usual, it's kooky. And if someone is the top striker in the Premier League, it's Pukki.
Very nice.
If you score from long distance without really meaning it, it's fluky.
Okay. How many more of these do you got?
Not many.
All right. Okay. Let's stop there then. Pukki, what's the chances of him scoring? Pretty high, I reckon.
High, mate.
They're high.
Pukki for the Golden Boot is something I want to see. I don't care what happens to Norwich. I just want Pukki Pooks to get the Golden Boot. And then I want everyone to rename it the Golden Pukki. It's
Hey! Nice. All right. Well, he'll definitely be having a Pukki at that, so I'm sure. So, all right, mate. Chelsea versus Sheffield United. Did you know that Sheffield United have not kept a clean sheet against Chelsea for over 95 years?
Wow, that's a lot of years.
What do you reckon the chances are of them doing it this time? What do you reckon?
Not high, because Chelsea actually look quite good going forward. The weakness of anything, as Pukki showed us last week, was at the back. But no, I don't fancy him to do it. Mate, I've fallen in love with Chris Wilder. Ever since his comments last week, where the commentator said something, the interviewer said something to him along the lines of, well, your players tried hard today. And he was like, of course they did. It's a minimum. I expect them to try hard. I don't think anyone should be clapped for coming and doing their job and working hard. You won't get clapped from me. You know what? The fans should stop clapping. They should be upset because we didn't keep the ball properly. And I was like, Oh, I like you.
Nice. We haven't had that in the Prem for a while. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, it was exactly what you said, mate. And I'm just going to answer the way that we always answer. Yeah. Nah.
No, we were shit. Running hard is not enough.
Straight. Love it.
Proper football man.
He is a proper football man. He's come out with a few, hasn't he? The one about dinner as well, when he booked dinner. For all the players to go a little bit early or something, and said we might as well have breakfast or something because it was so pitiful. So I don't remember exactly what he said, but yeah, he's going to be fun to watch. Old Wilder, isn't he? He's going to be a good one. And I think this is more than his wildest dreams coming to places like Sheffield, Chelsea. Sorry, isn't it? Stamford Bridge. It's going to be wonderful for him and wonderful for Sheffield United as well to be involved in these kind of matches. They were undone against Leicester last week, but mate, I mean, Leicester are, let's be frank, Leicester are doing extremely well this season, aren't they? And let's just move on to Leicester versus Bournemouth, which is the next game we're going to cover very quickly. They're unbeaten so far this year. They're looking a bit good, really, aren't they, Leicester?
Yes.
Chilwell and Ndidi are out. But even without those two, they should be pretty good, shouldn't they? I
fancy them to beat Bournemouth. Bournemouth are a weird team.
Yeah, Wilson, Fraser, King, but mate, that Harry Wilson, mate, a special free kick against Man City last week. That was a bit
very
tasty,
special,
wasn't it?
Very special, a bit tasty. Doesn't do much else though, does he?
No, and there wasn't much pressure on it. Last minute, whatever. If it goes out, we're 2-0 down. We're not exactly going to get back into this one either. But it was still very, very nice and still up in that top corner.
It was the football equivalent of poking an angry bear with a stick, though, isn't it? Like Manchester City are 2-0 up on you, everything's fine, the bear is sleeping over in the corner, and then you go poke it with a stick, and like it upset them. Like you could just see the Man City players being like, we might have avoided the Pep hairdryer and the insane whiteboard clicking thing and him down on his haunches, and then Wilson puts it in the top corner, and you can literally see Kyle Walker going, oh no, he's going to be moving them dots around on the clipboard shouting Nico, David for 15 minutes.
I just want to have a shower. I want a shower. get myself ready to go home. We're going to have to listen to more dribble. Yeah, absolutely. You're probably very right, and they probably all did get an earful. Oh well. But yeah, can't see anything but a Leicester win. I think on this one, like you said, Bournemouth, they are a bit of a funny team, and they do sometimes pop up with a bit of a surprise, as they did with a couple of very lovely away results last season. But Leicester are really flying. So Leicester for the win. And mates, the last game that we're going to cover is also another tasty one. There's just tasty games all round. Everton versus Wolves. Mate, Everton, what's going on there? Along with Watford, they're the team that in the Premier League who have scored only 1 goal so far this season. 6 shots on target in the last 3 Premier League matches. What's happening with Everton? They've had some great signings this summer. Everyone was talking of them being definitely the team that was definitely going to be winning the Everton Cup, and they can't seem to shoot at the moment.
Well, they have won one of those games, haven't they? And drawn.
Yeah, they did, and it was a commendable win. They drew another one, so there's no issues on points, but they 6 shots in the last 3 games. It's just,
you can put that right by having a few shots. Like, take a shot from the kickoff, put that right.
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't worry about it. Be fine.
Statistics, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, and Wolves, mate. Wolves going strong, although they needed a penalty in +7 minute against Burnley to get something. But mate, Wolves have played more games this season than anyone else. 8 already with Europe and Cup match. It's a lot of games, isn't it? It's a lot of games in there.
Well, and Nuno doesn't rotate, does he?
No.
It's
so
same old.
How long will these legs keep going?
Christmas.
Indeed. Indeedy. By Christmas, they'll fall by the wayside. Right. All right. Well, thank you very much, Monsieur Le David. I know you're a very busy guy these days, so very difficult for you to get on the blower, but very grateful that you were able to do so. Thank you, listeners. That's all for this week. We will be back next week to review and preview once again. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend of Premier League football.
Arrivederci.
Well, thank God that's over.
Ti invidio turista che arrivi, ti imbevi de fuori ed scavi, poi tutto d'un colpo te trovi fontana de Trevi che è tutta per te. C'è sta una leggenda romana legata a sta vecchia fontana, per cui si ci butti un soldino costringe il destino a fatte tornare. E mentre il sordo bacere fontanone, la tua canzone in fondo è questa qua. Arrivederci Roma, goodbye, au revoir. Si ritrova a pranzo a Squarciarelli, fettuccine e vino dei castelli, come ai tempi belli che Pinelli immortalò. Arrivederci Roma, goodbye, au revoir. Si rivede a spasso in carrozzella e ripensa a quella ciumachella che era tanto bella e che gli ha detto sempre no.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.